I just want to introduce our Coyote folder, which is kind of like our starter pack, and the way in which we can bridge some gaps for our students in terms of access to materials and just make sure they're set up for success at the beginning of the quarter. So one thing that's very important to us is making sure all of our students feel as much a part of the campus as possible. And one thing we definitely want to do is, putting that Coyote logo on the folder certainly brings our students into the fold a little bit. And then when you open it up, you can see that we have our community college's mission right there on the front, so that way all of our students know right off the bat we're here to serve them and we're here to do the best job as possible for them. So first things we want to provide for our students are both pencils and paper. And the reason we want to do this is because we just want to set our students up for success. They don't have as much access to these types of materials as some of our other students do in online and face-to-face classes. And we just want to make sure when students start off the quarter that they have a little foundation of materials to go through. And anytime throughout the quarter that they need some extra pencils or need some extra paper, we're happy to provide for them. The other thing we like to provide for our students is a student tracking table. We want to set up students with good practices early on and kind of create good habits for them to follow as they progress through our courses and through their degree program. And one of the ways we found best suits that is providing a model and a mode for which students can track their grades. And the communication between students and instructors can lag for a little bit, and so in that time when students might be questioning where they stand in a class, they can look to the grade tracker and keep tally of all the grades in it and have a pretty good understanding of where they might be. One thing we are very proud about, as we've talked about before, is that we provide all of our books to our students for free on a library loaner system. And that is one thing we're very proud about. Not all colleges are able to do that. We are. And so we just need to make sure we operate as much as a library as possible. And so students have a responsibility of turning in their books at the end of the quarter. And this check-in form is very, very crucial for that process. We also like to include an official transcript request form for our students. So our students are isolated in the sense that they're at facilities in which they do not have access to computers. They have very, very limited access to phones, and they don't really have access to lots of things that our online and face-to-face students have. And that internet capability and that computer savviness and capability is certainly a big hurdle for our students. And so one way we try to bridge that is to kind of provide some forms that are very crucial and easy for students on campus to find. We want to make sure students have that right from the get-go at their fingertips. And especially since students transfer often, or they parole, or they are finished with their sentences, they now have an official transcript request form from Lake Tahoe Community College that they can have and use immediately, so that wherever they go, they can quickly get their education right there behind them. Speaking more to that access bit, online students and face-to-face students have, and as we discovered, it's almost a luxury to be able to communicate pretty effectively and pretty almost instantaneously with their instructors and with the college in general. And our office hour request form is our way of providing that for our students. We operate by a mailing system for the most part, and the best way that our students can communicate with their instructors, with the counselors, and with the ISP staff is with this office hour request form. And we just want to make sure we kind of jump these unique hurdles of where our students are and how they communicate with us. We want to make sure we jump them and get students to a place that's as equal as a footing to their peers on campus as we can. All right, so another piece of kind of providing access for students and setting them up for success, we have our important dates packets that we like to give to students. So on this packet is a couple things. On the first page, we provided some very clear deadlines for students in terms of dropping and withdrawing, as well as when their midterms and finals weeks are. Stuff like that for students on campus is very easy to find in talking with their professors and looking on the syllabus. However, for our students, it's not as easy and quick for them to find. They do not have access to a computer. And so we just want to make sure that we start off giving them the exact dates that they need to know right off the bat. And then when we open it up, we also want to provide to our students a very clear deadlines for when their homework is due. Probably the biggest hurdle that we face as a program and our students face and our instructors face is that all the homework and all the exams come in via the mail. And it can be a very tricky process to provide enough time for students to complete the work, as well as to provide instructors enough time to evaluate that work and give feedback. And navigating that is probably our biggest hurdle in total for the program, or at least one of the biggest hurdles. And we wanted to try and smooth out that process as much as possible and give students as much preparation as possible. And so we wanted to make sure they kind of had a good guideline or schedule for when they should turn in homework that is optimal as much as it can be for both the instructor and the student. And then as well, we also provide a calendar that they can preview and make sure that they're on track as well. And in touching more upon connecting our students to our on-campus lifestyle, we have created a quarterly newsletter for our students called The Pulse. It basically keeps our students abreast with some of the developments on campus that involve the campus at large, as well as instructors and things that are pertinent to ISP specifically. And so, for instance, in our summer 2019 Pulse, we've included a little story about how one of our tutors and instructors, Professor Bruce Armbrust, actually turned and became Teacher of the Year as voted by his peers. And we just wanted to make sure our students were aware of that fact and all the other little things that happen on campus. And the last piece that we have in our folder is our student education guide. And this is probably something that we're most proud about and something that has been reworked and retooled over the years, and for our students is the most valuable database they have in terms of looking at how the program works, what's expected of them, and how they're going to navigate their education with Lake Tahoe Community College. And I just wanted to highlight a couple key parts of this student education guide that are very important to us and very important to students, amongst other things. The first would be, we actually have a letter of encouragement from our first ISP graduate. And he was very excited at the opportunity to create kind of a letter for students, just letting them know that they're not alone, that this is something that they can definitely accomplish. And as well, he also included tips for success from a fellow Coyote graduate, kind of a student perspective on how to navigate education. And we acknowledge that, we have our own relationships with our students, and we come from a position of authority, but sometimes a peer probably has the highest authority of all, and we just wanted to acknowledge that and kind of incorporate that into our own student guide. It is a student guide afterwards, not just a faculty guide. Another key part is we provide our students every single class that they need to graduate with an AAT in sociology, and we map that out for them exactly what they need, which as a lot of students come with transfer credits or coming from other schools, there's a lot of work to be done in terms of getting them on the right track and making sure they have all the classes they need to graduate. And so this just kind of sets up a little map for them to navigate. As well, we've provided course descriptions on all of our classes, which we find very helpful for our students in trying to figure out what is the next phase of their education and figuring out what are the classes they're going to take for the next quarter. And students have been very, very supportive of this, and we're very happy to provide it because, as we state and as we kind of hit upon it all the time, our students do not have the same type of access to information and materials that some of our other students at LTCC have. And this program summary of all the classes they're going to take is very helpful for our students. And finally, one of our last aspects that we're very proud of is our midterm and finals guidelines. So students know walking into their classes exactly what is expected of them in midterms and final situations, and kind of alluding to a point we made earlier, giving clear and set schedules and giving clear and direct information is very helpful for our students and something they very much appreciate. And then when you put that all together, you have our LTC Coyote folder all ready for our students so they can start the quarter off right and with a good foot.